So this video has been a long time in the making, and quite frankly it annoys me that it's taken me this long. The main reason I cover so many Sonic fan games on this channel is because I absolutely hate the notion that nobody completes fan games. There are loads of complete fan games out there that everyone shrugs off because the fan game scene seems to generate more demos and concepts than actual finished games, and everyone tends to unjustly focus on that. So let's get down to it. Here's a list of complete Sonic fan games that prove how active and diverse Sonic fangaming can be. Let's kick things off with a fan game that the developers would scream at me for saying it's complete. Sonic Robo-Blast 2 has been in development since 1998. 1998! 20 years! And another version called version 2.2 is due to be released soon. It's easily a game that stands tall as a monument to dedication. The game itself is one of the first successful attempts by the community to bring Sonic into 3D. Sonic Robo-Blast 2 is built on a modified version of the Doom Legacy engine, which allows for improvements like rooms above other rooms that the original Doom engine wouldn't allow. While the game is still in active development, the 2.1 version that launched in 2014 has been patched as recently as January 2018, and it features so much content that it's bizarre to think it's still being improved upon. The single player campaign features 7 zones full of huge environments that hide lots of secrets if you're willing to explore. While Sonic Robo-Blast 2's biggest weakness is its lack of Sonic-style loop-de-loops and momentum-based action, you can't deny it absolutely nails the level design. Stages often feature multiple routes and have the same dense nature of classic Sonic design that means there's often just loads of stuff for you to muck around with everywhere. Not only does it now feature a lengthy single-player campaign, but it also has special stages based on Nights into Dreams, secret levels, an extensive multiplayer mode, and an expanded time attack mode called Record Attack. We haven't even mentioned that Sonic Robo-Blast 2 is fully customizable, so there's an active modding community out there making their own level packs. There's so much game here, and there's even more to come. It really is an astounding achievement that deserves to be recognised. Next up we have Sonic Time Attack. Released in 2003 by Jamie Bailey, this fan game is certainly showing its age. It doesn't have the same tight control and momentum as a lot of modern 2D Sonic fan games, but it does still have a lot going for it. The presentation in particular absolutely holds up. All the graphics are custom and there's lots of lovely spot effects like badnik parts exploding towards the screen and scenery falling apart as you roll through it. It's also got some lovely animated cutscenes that help round out an incredibly impressive visual package. We can't talk about Sonic Time Attack without also mentioning the grinding. It has the most satisfying grinding of any Sonic fan game I've ever played. You always seem to snap to rails regardless of how close you are to them. It's difficult to describe, but it just feels really good, and nobody has ever come close to making grinding feel as good as this. There's 6 complete stages and a whole host of unlockable ones that can be obtained via searching for 5 Sonic coins in each stage and performing 100 link combo chains. Despite its age, there's an awful lot of game here, and if you can ignore some of its idiosyncrasies, there's some decent fun to be had. Lake Pfefford probably deserves a video all to himself, but let's try to discuss his achievements briefly. This man has created and completed 4 Sonic games, and they're some of the most accomplished and interesting games to come from the Sonic fan game scene. First up are his 2 traditional Sonic 2D titles, in the form of Sonic Before the Sequel, set between Sonic 1 and 2, and Sonic After the Sequel, set between Sonic 2 and 3. Both games offer lengthy single-player campaigns with great stage design and stage-specific gimmicks that show off some real creativity. The stages often evolve and expand on the original concept from act to act, and both games are a joy to play. Sonic After the Sequel even received a deluxe release which adds the drop dash from Sonic Mania. Then there's Lake Pfefford's 2 attempts at bringing Metroidvania-style exploration to the Sonic formula. Sonic Before the Sequel Aftermath and Sonic Chrono Adventure feature large maps instead of individual levels that are explored sequentially. Gaining access to the entirety of the map means you need to explore and search for new abilities that allow you to reach previously blocked off areas. It's a really successful melding of Sonic-style action and a single expansive Metroidvania-style map that's well worth checking out if you enjoy both types of game. Sonic the Hedgehog Classic is a fan game that I feel passed a lot of people by. Very much a game in the traditional 16-bit Sonic mould, Sonic Classic features 7 zones with a huge emphasis on nostalgia. A lot of these zones are 16-bit interpretations of zones from 8-bit Sonic games like Gigalopolis and Aqua Arena, which are inspired by similar zones in Sonic Chaos. There's also an extensive challenges mode which gives you additional missions and set goals, and completing various amounts of them will grant the player bonus unlockables. While it's not doing anything particularly new with the Sonic formula, Sonic Classic is a pleasant little nod to the 16-bit Sonic games, and it plays well. If you like old school Sonic, then you'll undoubtedly like Sonic Classic as well. On the polar opposite end of the Sonic spectrum, we're now going to take a look at Sonic Nebulous, a game with a visual style that is very dark and edgy and is heavily based on the Sat.AM Sonic cartoon and the comic continuation by Archie. Sonic Nebulous is a weird game in that it riffs on the traditional 2D Sonic gameplay but adds an exhaustive list of playable characters with different abilities and playstyles. For example, some characters don't curl into a ball to attack and instead use melee attacks and guns. Your playstyle then has to be adjusted accordingly because jumping on enemies can now do you damage. Sonic Nebulous also has a neat visual trick in that going around certain loops and curved surfaces makes the camera rotate with you, much like the mobile versions of Sonic 4. The game's execution isn't perfect, and some might find the presentation a bit unnecessarily grimdark for a Sonic title, but once again there's a lot of creativity here. There's also a sequel in development, and there's an extensive beta version out there which adds a larger focus on combat, with some light RPG style levelling to the proceedings, which should make for a game that is really unique when finished. Finally, I want to mention Eggman Hates Furries, which recently received some bug fixes in July 2018. This game completely ditches the traditional Sonic level structure, and instead focuses on boss battles. There's some minor platforming and traversal to be done between bosses, but overall you're going to be battling a series of extremely varied bosses that showcase some of the most creative and interesting gimmicks seen in the Sonic game. Despite its somewhat edgy introduction, there's an obvious undertone of humour permeating the experience, with one particularly memorable battle taking place with the Tails doll from Sonic R, who emits an energy field that plays Can You Feel the Sunshine when you get closer to it. It's a real treat for fans of Sonic and boss rush modes, and a genuinely unique experience. And with that we come to the end of our adventure. There are obviously more complete Sonic fan games out there, with an obvious omission being Sonic Time Twisted, but we've already reviewed that at length, so if you haven't seen that video then please check it out. I hope this little rundown has exposed you to some cool Sonic fan games that you haven't seen before, and you're tempted to try them out. Download links to everything can be found in the description below, and I hope this little insight into Sonic fan gaming means you continue to keep track of what is happening in the scene. You never know when another complete Sonic fan game will magically appear out of the ether.